Hey guys, this is Shaft of the Clan Casting crew. Joining us tonight is Mads, coming all the way from Denmark. How you doing tonight, bro?
I'm doing just fine, thank you.
Awesome. Joining us as well are our players here on Habitation Station, because here on the top right-hand side of that epic awesome map is supposedly retired former Zerg professional, Stephano!
And his opponent spawning up in the top left, it is CJ Entus Bbyong as a red Terran. One of the best Pro League Terrans in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely, dude. Pro League, definitely a force to be reckoned with. But it's interesting that, Stephano, even though he's retired, he is still, performing among top-tier professional players. And he's not even taking it seriously, if he ever did.
Yeah, absolutely. And like he himself states that he only practiced around 8 hours a day when he was professional. So a lot of his skill came from probably just being very talented at the game.
Mm-hmm, exactly. And, people did used to give him a lot of hell about not practicing. But, apparently for him, it's always been for fun more than anything. He's a very, very well-known partier. So, in some ways, it's not even that surprising. Stephano being serious, that just never happens.
Yeah, absolutely. He probably cares a lot more than he showed, but on the outside, it looked like he didn't really care. He was just there to party afterwards, and the games were just a formality, so to speak.
Yeah, well, that's okay though. That's okay because he's still one of the best foreigner Zergs. I loved his 200 Roach Max at 12 minutes. It was amazing. But yeah. All the past aside, we are in the present, and it looks like we're going to have a fairly standard game, both players opening as you would expect, Reaper into Expand for Bbyong. He did not do 2 Reapers. He's going straight into the reactor. So there's a good probability that it's not going to be Mech. Maybe a Banshee, but no 2 Reaper harassment. Nothing that Zergs really truly fear. So this should be pushed back by Stephano relatively easily.
Yeah, absolutely. If it was a more mech, it can't really be the aggressive mech now because of only 1 Reaper.
Mm-hmm.
Where normally, if you were doing the aggressive mech, you would go 2 Reapers into Hellions, into Banshee, into Blue Flame, and then go from there.
God, that's so annoying.
It's really annoying.
Well, we've got the factory about halfway done. Queen popping out now. Metabolic boost is actually completed, and then he pulled off from the extractor. So it looks like he just wanted that map control, maybe control the Zelnaga towers. This will really help him stay safe against those Reapers. And then, pulling off gas allows him to get that drone count up before going back into gas. And mutiling bling. Zerg vs Terran is very predictable.
Absolutely, and he is going to get 1 increased speed which is quite standard off of a gas first because you do have those speed links to defend against for you, whereas if you were to go gasless you would usually get 2 extra queens apart from your lava injecting queens. So he's doing pretty much the most standard safe Zerg play you can do while still maintaining a good economy.
Exactly, my friend, exactly. Now this Reaper is actually here just to stop creep spread. The queens don't want to come off the creep, but the Reaper doesn't want to come too close. Looks like the queens and the lings are going to come forward, but very nice kiting here, and this Reaper is completely unmolested.
Definitely, that Reaper doesn't want to get harmed at all, and he is actually looking to go Banshee actually. So
yeah,
he would be going for that Banshee with Cloak even. That's actually really aggressive.
Interestingly enough, though, he was supply blocked there for a moment.
Yeah.
Now it's no surprise really to see the Banshee. Usually you'll see Banshee if they scout a Roach Warren. In the case of a Roachling or a Roach Bling timing, but as you said, he's going for Cloak, so he's going to actually try to do damage with this rather than using it for a defensive purpose. I wonder if Stephano's going to be ready for it, because, he doesn't seem to be working towards lair, and it's not often that you throw spores up in your mineral line for absolutely no reason. Then again, he has seen the tech lab, and he saw that it was radiating, so he's seen the Cloak.
Absolutely, so he is going to throw down a spore. I believe in each mineral nut line. No, he hasn't thrown down one at the natural yet, but really, Stephano's a good player. He will probably react accordingly and take whatever measures he needs to take to defend himself. And he does have a few lings. He has 2 queens now for crew spreading, which is good. He kind of needs that versus banshees because 1 banshee, I believe, especially with Hellions poke, can just barely kill a queen.
Exactly, dude. And wow, this is actually pretty rough. That's a lot of Hellions, a lot of Marines, and there are SCVs here to repair the Hellions. Of course, you don't want your Hellions taking shots from the Spine Crawler, and one of those Hellions did fall. Now, Ling's trying to get us around here on the Hellions, but it looks like they're clustering up pretty well now, and that is a huge immolation of Zerglings. Now, this third's going to be open for some burnage as well. You'd really think Hellions do more damage against buildings. Last I checked, fire was really good against buildings. But hey, what do I know?
Yeah, absolutely. But I suppose Carapace is pretty strong. But actually, he kind of had the Hellions for a second, then moved his Lings away. I think if he had just stayed and attacked with the surround he had on the Hellions, he would have easily killed them.
Well, he was being pulled in two places at once, as during this entire attack, the Banshee has been doing work up there in the main. Did not get any workers killed, though. It was pushed back relatively successfully. So, I mean...
Yeah. I think this is pretty good for Stephano. He's in a good spot. We are going to see a mech follow up with 1 armory and then 2 factories. So, pretty standard mech follow up. I thought he was not going to go for it because of the 1 Reaper, but looks like he decided to go for it anyway, and favoring having a few more Marines for defense, which is also an option, obviously. He's a pretty good Terran.
It'll probably be more defensive mech. The 2 Reapers more aggressive, but anytime you show a Banshee, you've pretty much told your opponent that you're going to go mech. So I feel like, this is a really strong option, his opponent's going to be doing the Ling Bling Muta thing, so he's going to force a tech switch, and, if he can secure that 3rd base, all to the better.
Yeah, absolutely, but I think Stephano hasn't perhaps read that it is going to be mech, because I think Stephano, especially as good a Swarmhost player as he is, would not have opted for melee upgrades if it was mech, since the more common response was either Roach Hydra Viper or some kind of Swarmhost play. So I think actually Stephano doesn't quite know yet that it is mech. I think he's going to find out in time, because he's probably going to send out some of his Lings soon to scout and realize, oh, there's Thors and a bunch of Hellions.
Right.
Changes to plans accordingly.
Well, 2 Banshees are sneaking here into the main. Looks like an Overseer will be produced in the nick of time. There's also a Spore Crawler that will do very, very well with those Banshees. Now, the Spire is finishing up. The 2 Banshees, they do a lot of damage to Queens. Queen does go down there, and it looks like a second Queen may be potentially a fatality as well.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a pretty okay exchange for Bbyong, especially since once the Muta's out with an Overseer, they aren't going to do much more damage anyways. And right now Stephano is he is on 3 Queens, so that hasn't stopped his lava injecting, but he's not going to be able to put down as many creep tunes without rebuilding those Queens.
No doubt, my friend. Now, we've got some small numbers of Lings just running across to his opponent's side of the map. Looks like he's going to check on that 3rd, see if it's dropping, and in fact, just as he sends his units over, the 3rd is in the process of coming over. Come over, Red Rover.
Yeah. Get over here. I'd like to talk to you.
Exactly. What do you think of these Thors so early?
I think since he's so he didn't get that many turrets until now, it's a pretty solid option. In general, I think Thors are pretty good, especially if you aren't planning on moving out into the middle of the map. You won't need that much AoE, and I think Stephano is going to switch into Swarmhost play, especially because he's getting attack upgrades or missile upgrades and also an infestation pit. Yeah, well, that's good.
Bbyong did lose a lot of Hellions in that engagement there. Sorry about not keeping up to date with you guys. But those Hellions, that was a huge number of Hellions. If he chooses to reproduce those, yep, he is actually going to reproduce those for the Blue Flame upgrade. That's going to be good because there are Swarm Hosts here, but it's also bad because he has to delay getting either Thors or getting Siege Tanks for that. And Hellions just don't really compare, but you're going to need them against the Swarm Hosts.
Definitely, I agree. Especially because Hellions, if you're just deciding to just sit your Swarmhost somewhere and just rally units to their 3rd, the Hellions can walk around and do damage around your bases, and that's actually really annoying as a Zerg, because then you have to have like a reactionary group of roaches in position to deal with those.
Here we go, the Hellions getting intercepted yet again, this time by 5 Mutalisks, and of course Mutalisks do great against Hellions, which just don't shoot up. But at the same time, Hellions are very fast, and the Mutalisks are not going to be able to kill them off but so quickly, and that's going to, in fact, get a lot of drone kills here for these Hellions.
Yeah, that was like 6 drones or something. That's definitely worth it, especially because these Hellions, you have a lot of excess minerals as a meching Terran, so you might as well use them to kill some drones to prevent Zerg from getting that super economy they kind of want versus Mech.
Exactly, dude. Exactly. Now we've got some units showing up here for our Terran. He's trying to keep as many of these Hellions alive as possible. But, yeah.
Absolutely, and this is actually a pretty scary push for Stephano. He does obviously have his Swarmhost, but if the Megan player decides to just push through or go towards another location, Stephano has to be up on his feet to do something about it.
No doubt, man, no doubt. Well, we've got 2 Vipers in production now. The Vipers do very, very well against Mech. It really minimizes the amount of damage that siege tanks or the Thors can do. And with something like Swarmhost, that's all to the better.
Yeah, and I actually like having this Banshee with it because it gives him high ground vision, especially if he has Cloak, because then Stephano obviously needs to go in with the mutas, but then the Thor is standing on the ground. That's actually pretty clever play by Bbyong there.
Well,
but it looks like he's going to retreat.
Yeah, it looks like this tank may actually fall here to nothing but Swarmhost. The creep giving it. No, now he's off creep.
No. The tank, the driver in the tank is like, God damn. I'm so glad I got off the creep.
Exactly, dude.
Locust.
He had to go to the bathroom right as soon as he hit the grass.
Yeah.
All right, so we've got a mostly Hellbat siege tank army now. There's only 4 Thors it looks like left on the field. Let's double check that. Yes, 4 Thors on the field. So it looks like with this Spire, this is second Spire now on the way. So it looks like we're gonna have Stephano going for Broodlords nonetheless. His opponent not really strong in the anti-air, so this could work out very, very well in Stephano's favor.
Absolutely, and actually this is more of a Maru/Flash-esque mech. I was expecting to perhaps be like something like a Velo where you just turtle for 50 minutes and do nothing and complain. But this is more of the aggressive style of mech we've seen from Maru and Flash in Pro League, which is actually really interesting to watch, and that's actually when I think like Swarmhosts are actually interesting because they're being used as mobile defense forces to go around and defend your bases. That's actually fun to watch, so I think we have a good game here.
I honestly really like Swarmhosts because they are mobile defense. I feel like there was a huge weakness in Zerg during Wings of Liberty, in the sense that they didn't have anything that controlled space quite the way that Broodlords or Swarmhosts do. We did have Broodlords. In fact, that's what was broken about Zerg late in Wings of Liberty is Infest or Broodlord. But you had to wait on like 3 bases, tech super fast while trying to stay alive. So leading up to Broodlords was a lot harder, but once you reached Broodlords, you were guaranteed a victory. With something like Swarmhost, you have more options. You have the ability to control space earlier, but they have their own negativity. So it's a really strong unit, and I like that it was added into the game. Hold that thought, though, because we've got some siege tanks going ahead, sieging up here at the 4th base of Stephano. Stephano, of course, trying to send some units here in the back, but they're just not going to do that well. Tanks and Thors in great positions here, using Vikings and scans here to gain the high ground.
Good blinding clouds forcing the tanks to not actually shoot at the either Locust or the base. And he's actually picking up a few tanks, and this is a good exchange for Stephano, especially because not that many of the Vipers died, I believe. So that's pretty good. If Stephano can keep this up, he should be able to repel this, but the base is going to go down. There's not really too much he can do.
Yeah, this is a completely sacrificial base, but hey, at least it's taking some pot shots here, allowing more damage to be done here by the Swarmhost. In fact, another tank goes down, and one has a single shot left of HP.
Oh, and some Hellions going in to disrupt the Locust line so his other mech forces can safely retreat. That's actually a really nice tactical sacrifice of the Hellions. And
yeah, they don't
got
cost
some
any
workers
gas.
Now. Wow, he got a lot of workers there. Stephano's down to 48 harvesters.
Dude, 34 workers have been killed by Bbyong.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. He's doing a really good job of playing this mech by doing multi-prone attacks and forcing the Zerg's Locust to go elsewhere than the mech army.
I feel like this is one of the weaknesses of the defense against Mech. Even with Swarmhost, you're going to have a really hard time holding on to bases. And in fact, right now, Stephano taking 2 bases at once, but basically he's mining on 3 bases against his opponent who's mining on 4. And you want to be a base ahead as Zerg, not a base behind.
Yeah, and especially against Mech, because Mech is such a cost-efficient force compared to Bio. Mech can literally sit and kill endless waves of units without ever really dying, and that's one of the strengths of Mech.
Still, we got double air upgrades coming, so if ever we should reach the Greater Spire, there's going to be a lot of damage done here by Stephano. The only problem, of course, are the 14 Vikings on the field. How do you think he's going to clear the area? Do you think Infestors are going to do that, or is he going to have to do something else to get rid of these Vikings?
I would imagine a combination of Infestors and perhaps some Hydras, because he is getting Hydra speed, so he might want to clear the air for the possibility of transitioning into Brutals. Perhaps like Mutas, because 3/3 Mutas, and right now there are only like 5 Thors. 3/3 Mutas kill Thors pretty easily. It's not that difficult, and he could use it as a mobile harassment.
Magic box!
Yeah, and the Vikings are going into the main hunting Overlords. This is pretty funny.
Dude.
Oh, that
Fungal!
You cannot. Oh, is he gonna get another? Oh, that's so great.
Yeah.
That's actually really gonna help him with cleaning out this this air force of Bbyong. Oh, he hit one. He hit one Viking with that last fungal there. That's pretty funny.
It's interesting. He only actually killed 3 Vikings there. His opponent started with 14 and is now down to 11. And Corruptors take care of 2 more.
Yeah, and it was absolutely free. He didn't lose a unit, so that's pretty good.
We've killed off 6 so far. Should be 8 left. Oh no, we've killed off 8. 6 left. 6s and 8s look the same on StarCraft, guys.
Yeah, it's too terrible.
Oh my God! The Thors are getting molested by Swarmhosts. That was amazing. 3 Thors just died to Swarmhosts right there.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think Stephano is suddenly ahead, and he has been able to get this Corruptor force up. And that's really important to have the air superiority as the Zerg, so you can kill a growing Skytoss army, which seems to be what Bbyong is heading towards. He's adding on some more Stargates, and with Tech Labs getting Ravens. So Stephano wants to be on top of this and not be completely caught off guard once the Skytoss or Sky Terran transition happens.
Yeah, Bbyong is, hands down one of the best players on CJ Entus. He's a player that makes mistakes few and far between, hardly ever. But Stephano has been completely capitalizing on any hint of a mistake from the Terran player.
Yeah, and absolutely. And obviously one of the great things about defense being very strong in Mech versus Swarmhost is that you can come back and things can change because it is not one engagement. It's a bunch of smaller engagements. So this is one of the positives about Mech versus Swarmhost, that it has that advantage.
Exactly, dude. Exactly. Now, one of the downsides to Swarmhost is how slow and tedious the games can often become. It looks like we've got a World War I-esque trench warfare going on here between the Vipers and Swarmhosts and a basically tank army.
Yeah, absolutely. But at least we don't have 500 spines and 200 spores yet. At least we've been spared of that.
Yes, but there are 3 spores on the way, so how long will we be spared? Ooh, nice beach balls going down here at one of the bases here for our Terran buddy. And the Corruptors are going to be able to make short work of that floating.
Oh, that's a really good fungal on those Ravens. That's going to be able to give Stephano a great fight versus this remaining air forces.
Oh my God! Oh my God! Oh my God! Oh my God! Do you see what's about to happen? Hold on. Rewind. Guys.
Wait.
Guys. Stephano is a genius. This is so cool. Check this out. Okay. Watch what happens with the Hunter-Seeker missiles against these Corruptors. As soon as the Corruptors turn red, that means Hunter-Seeker missile is targeted in them now. Watch what Stephano does.
This is going to be epic.
Watch this. I'm even going to slow it down for you guys. Watch this.
Oh.
See the individual, 3 of the individual Corruptors there? Watch. And then he leaves them. He parks them right on top so that the Hunter-Seeker missiles damage the Vikings and the Ravens.
Yeah, and that's really good. And especially because right now, Bbyong is just now getting his 4th up, so he's not that high in resource, whereas Stephano has no problem building more Corruptors. So any kind of exchange he can have with air armies, with around 20,000 stores standing beneath, is a really good fight for him.
Exactly, dude. And we've got more infested Terran coming out here trying to hold the high ground to keep the Terran out of his own gold base.
Oh no, the infestors, they're stuck.
They will force another scan, though. They will force another scan. Burrow, bitches!
I don't know if he has it.
He doesn't. Damn it. He's not going to force another scan.
Stephano, come on.
No
It's supposed to
Burrow.
be good.
Bop showing us earlier just how good Burrow really can be.
Absolutely, that was an incredible game. And I actually like the point defense drones, especially when you take the final fight versus the Swarmers where you go in with everything. Throwing down like 6 or 7 point defense drones can be epical.
I love the small counterattack force of roaches here in the bottom. If ever Bbyong decides it's a good idea to push across to the other side of the map, he's going to have roaches in his base killing his workers.
Yeah, absolutely, and it seems Bbyong is just not really able to get the Sky Terran transition that he wants, at least not fast enough where it'll catch Stephano off guard. Stephano is at almost 200 supply, and Bbyong is only at 150, and these locusts are doing a really good job of constantly pressuring and picking off a few siege tanks here and there, and that's not what you want as a meching Terran. You want to be able to keep all your siege tanks alive.
Yeah, siege tanks are super expensive. Siege tanks are your main damage dealer as a meching Terran. Thors are great at tanking and anti-air. Hellions are great for harassment, but the real damage dealer is your siege line.
Absolutely, but I think the reason why Bbyong is losing to these Swarmhosts is because Stephano has 32 of them. Normally as a Zerg you'll get like 16, because that's kind of a sweet spot number where the Terran has to have enough AoE, but you're not committing 100% to Swarmhosts. So Stephano is kind of all in on getting rid of these siege tanks, because it's a full Skytoss army versus 32 Swarm hosts. He's just not going to have enough anti-air to deal with a full Skytoss army, or Sky Terran army, if he allows Bbyong to get it.
And part of the other reason it's concerning is it's just opening up freeing supply for the Terran to make cattle bruisers.
Yeah, and cattle bruisers are not to be messed with. The first are actually on the field, the first 2.
Yeah, so that's not going to be very good for Stephano. Stephano has completely missed his chance to capitalize on Broodlords with upgrades. That's just not going to happen now. How do you stop a Terran, meching Terran, who switches into cattle bruisers? According to Blade 55555, it's not possible. But hey, he's only an amazing North American Grandmaster player who posts on Team Liquid.
Yeah, absolutely, but I think Stephano is actually going to just kill the ground army, and Bbyong's not going to have a choice. Oh, what a fungal! Holy, he's going to get all of them. I think he has enough fungals.
Dude.
I think he just won the game.
God.
Yeah. Wow.
So there's the answer. You beat battle cruisers with fungal growth.
Yeah, but that was incredible. Like, kind of a mistake by Bbyong, but also well noticed by Stephano, because Bbyong was assuming that his air army was safe, but it wasn't, because the fungals hit like pretty much all the support air units, and pure battle cruisers, like 4 battle cruisers, pretty much you could probably kill that with just queens, no problem.
Right.
So, like, and he knew that Stephano had enough energy to chain fungal, and there was nothing he could do. He couldn't, and he was also losing his ground mech army, so he was losing both fights suddenly. Because if he had been allowed to transition into that heavy Skytoss army, that would have been good, because he also had this 5th base, so he was in a good spot until that fungal happened.
Very much so, very much so. Let's take a look at the highlights here. Last couple of moments of this game. Speed right on through it. So huge action going on here. We've got action in the top and the bottom left. Now we're converging on this point where the game ends. Swarmhost coming in, taking no reckon damage. But it still seems like Bbyong is in such a strong position at this point in the game. Does it really come down to the Ravens?
I think it came down to the fungals, yes. I think if Bbyong could have gotten that perfect Sky Terran army, there would be nothing Stephano could do. You can have as many Swarmhosts you want, as many Infestors as you want. Eventually, it'll just not be enough.
Right.
But he was really, well, both lucky and skilled to be able to observe that, those air units are out of position. I should probably fungal them in the middle of the game.
Right. Well, we're about to cash it one final time, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in to Clanning Casting Crew Production. Big shout outs to Mads for joining us today.
Well, that was no problem. It was really fun.
No problem, dude. I'm glad you could make it. And guys, if you're interested, please check us out on Friday nights for the next 7 weeks. That is going to be on twitch.tv. What's your URL there?
I don't know yet. I was thinking we should perhaps make a new.
Oh.
Yeah. You can name it something fancy, like We like mech games with Swarmhost or something.
Something like that. Anyways, guys, check us out. We're going to be casting Base Wars for the next 7 weeks. That's Friday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you like this, please, subscribe to the channel, plus once on YouTube, share it with your friends, but check us out on Friday nights. Till then, guys, bye-bye.
Bye.
신할 선수가 되는 거고요.
그렇죠.
멀티에 방해도 받지 않으면서 안전하게 해주고 있는 모습인데 맹독 측의 스피드업이 되기 전에 즉 전방 위에서만 싸워야 되고 전방만 또